Right, all right, all right. All right, all right, all right. All right, all right, all right. Welcome, wizard, warrior, wanderer, wayfarer. It's time for the Frank Monday channel, Live Jive Archive. Today we're talking about the time binding circuits. Let's get into it, guys. Frank Monday with you. Welcome, wizard, warrior, wanderer, wayfarer, and wildcat alike. We're see if we can get the volume down on this. Yeah. So we're going to be looking at Chapter 7 of Robert Anton Wilson's groundbreaking work. We're talking about the time-binding dialectic. We got a quote here by Berger and Luckman from The Social Construction of Reality. In the dialectic between nature and the socially constructed world, the human organism is transformed. In this dialectic, man produces reality and thereby produces himself. You can see here that we're on the free PDF on the internet, and we're at around page 105. The first and second circuits are evolutionary stable strategies. They have worked. So the first and second circuits, if you don't know, they are the reptilian brain and the fish brain and the reptilian brain. Is that what it is? The mammalian brain, not the primate brain. So yeah, the reptilian brain, the mammalian brain, and now we're moving into the third somatic circuit, an evolutionary unstable strategy. Could very accurately be called revolutionary rather than evolutionary. The first two circuits are based on negative feedback. In the biological sense, they maintain homeostasis. That is, they return over and over to the same ecological, ethological balances. The function of the negative feedback is to return to such a steady state. The time-binding semantic circuit is not based on such steady state positive feedback. It is a mechanism of what cyberneticists and biologists call positive feedback. It does not return to a steady state, but constantly seeks a new equilibrium of a higher energy level. So negative feedback returns to a fixed point, like thermostat. Positive feedback seeks a moving goal, like a guided missile. So if we think about that in terms of, let me check the comments. Flex, we might have some comments coming in Happy Land. Let me see here. No, those are all my comments. So first off, I just ask, is there anybody in here? Anybody in there with me? No, it doesn't look like it. I remind everyone to make sure that you join our Discord. It's called Lunar Light Entertainment Discord. You can find it here in the About section of my page. So definitely check that out, guys. Then next up is a reminder of the 100-day challenge, which is coming to an end. So make sure you participate in the 100-day challenges. They are good fun, and you'll learn something along the way. Finally, I just say, hey, let's get this party started. If you're out there in Happy Land and you're in the Ideas Room, make sure you do drop a comment and hit the like and subscribe. All that happy horse shit that keeps YouTube barking like a dog, barking like Pavlov's dog, right? Woof, woof. I love y'all good looking, sexy people. And I do want to remind you that you can catch me on www.buymeacoffee.com/Frank Monday, where I do some pontificating. And you can put a little something in the tip jar. That helps out the motivation levels here on YouTube. Let's get back to it. So we're discussing the third circuit has always been hemmed in and heavily sanctioned with rules, laws, prohibitions, taboos, etc. because it breaks up such cycles. It leads, if unleashed, to an upward hurtling spiral. So I wanted to point out that when practicing magic, this is really one of the jumping off points of what we're doing. We're engaging with the passing of the time-binding circuit, which passes symbolism from the ancient world into the modern world, and thereby we're able to learn more than we ordinarily would in a single generation of life, right? That's one thing that's unique to the human being. There is no other animal in the prime material plane that does this. Now, there is some activity of this beyond the veil, right? With like the Library of Alexandria or the, um, the Sojourner's Library, the Akashic Records, as it were, whatever you like to call that. But the great invisible college, there is some record keeping and there is something going on out there that adds to that. So he says, in societies where the third semantic circuit has been partially unleashed, it has never been totally free in any society. The upward spiral immediately appears. This used to be known as progress before the word became unfashionable. So that upward spiral that he's talking about, this is the magical practice, right? This is the command sign that you're building your magical circle. You have your triangle of art before you in the third eye, and you use the mage's eye to project beyond the physical realm and into these worlds beyond. There are many, many places you can go when projecting. You can go into the astral realm, right? That's where all of your magical work is going to begin. Can you hear me okay out there? Hello? Can you hear me in Happy Land? So you can project beyond the fathomless cavern upward into the astral realm. And then you can also do great work in dreamland via lucid dreaming and other techniques of projection. And you can go all around in the prime material plane, which is called the mirror world by some, right? And you can go into and beyond the celestial vault of heaven. And so there's really a lot of great stuff to do when projecting. It's an endless journey. And one of the things that I use it most often for is the inward journey, right? So starting down in the lower Dantian, the dredges, as it were, the area of the infernal holy guardian angel, and then working my way up out of the depths of the cavern from Golgotha up into the palace of the prime material plane and the um, spiritual Dantian, and then up even further into the celestial Dantian, where resides the holy guardian angel, the true one holy guardian angel of the human soul. And so that's the upward spiral that we're talking about here. The upward spiral is characteristic of what Karl Popper calls open societies. These are secular, humanistic societies, cultures relatively free of taboo and dogmatism. And it's that dogmatism, the doctrine and the dogma, that puts those fetters on society and on any free man. That's the ultimate. That's the ultimate expression of the great work, right there. Breaking up the cycles, doing away with rules, laws, and prohibitions, right? Breaking free of dogmatism and established doctrine. Because in each generation, we have to write our own new doctrine that will better service us. Because we are on an evolutionary trajectory. And what served people back in ancient times or at the turn of the first millennium or the second millennium, right? The 15th century or the 19th and 20th centuries, all of that was great work, and it lays the foundation of the great work, but it doesn't serve modern man as much as what's coming out today. And we got to pick and choose too. So some people don't get it. Like, I don't know if you guys caught my last video that I just did, where I was doing a little bit of commentary on Damien Eccles, but I quote him here. Let's see here. He said that he just doesn't get it. Like he's doing an entire course on astral projection. You are sharing with Firefox. Can you guys see everything I share? I don't think so. Let me check this here. guys, I'm gonna check the YouTubes and see if we are good right now. Looks like we might be. I don't think it's showing the things I don't want it to show, and it is showing the things that I want it to show. That's important. All right, yeah. So,
how long did it go?
Oh no,
Trying to check. About 30 minutes.
I gotta pause that. So I wanted to quote what he said here. He says, and I quote. Okay, so in Damien Eccles' video, he says, and I quote, "I honestly don't find anything even remotely fascinating or exciting or enjoyable about astral projection whatsoever." That's his quote. I was like, oh my God, really? Are you serious, man? You're not doing it right. He goes on to say that he thought it was fun in the beginning, but the newness wore off. That's my inference. I can only say that if you feel this way, you're obviously not doing it right. You're just engaging in mental masturbation. You're not doing real magic. When you truly get beyond the guardian of the threshold, projecting in the astral room will get increasingly more powerful. So much, in fact, that when you do magic on the astral, its effects may start to manifest even more rapidly in the prime material plane. Again, I've seen so much, and the astral landscapes are so fascinating and filled with so many interesting denizens. I just can't imagine that he's really been there, or that he's even grokked the truth of the inner journey. So I'd recommend that you participate in my 100-day challenge on astral projection. I have an entire playlist of some of the work that I've done to this end. As always, your friend and well-wisher. And I went on to reiterate that Eccles' description of his success with astral projection doesn't sound like he's made it past the first guardian. Just as a reference, I've had many an adventure in various realms with projecting that have gone beyond description. I've been to the depths of Golgotha, deep into the abodes of dreamland, and far beyond the celestial vault. I've met with Socrates and Lao Tzu in the timeless homeland. I've climbed the heights of the tree of life up multiple levels and projected with great authority, like thunderous authority among demons and angels. If astral projection is boring and ineffective or too subtle to detect, then you're definitely going to need to take the 100-day challenge and join me on the great work that we do here on the Frank Monday channel with experimentation into the realms beyond. Because we get a lot more done than that. I mean, boring, ineffectual, wow. That's never any way that I would describe projection work and path working. So if you're following it, the blind leading the blind is definitely not what you want to do, guys. Tune in here, and you're going to have someone that's awakened that can use the Magi and knows his shit to some extent. So such freedom, Wilson goes on to say, including the present, is only relative because many taboos and are unconscious and pass themselves off as common sense or common decency. Whoever challenges them is by definition a heretic, a traitor, and an irresponsible nut. It was historian Henry Adams who first conceived the idea that there might be a mathematical expression describing the rate of change in human societies. Under the influence of Newton's physics, Adams suggests, and he was very tentative about this, a fact to be remembered by those who ridicule his naivete, that the utilization of energy might move forward as the inverse square of time, just as Newton's gravity functions as the inverse square of distance. Accepting the anthropology of his day, Adams assumed humanity, in its present form, was about 90,000 plus years old. He then reckoned that it took most of the time to arrive at Galileo, the scientific method, the beginning of industrial revolution and the great leap forward in energy utilization of the modern age. So I think this is where Wilson is going to get into his jumping Jesus effect and his measurement of how information accelerates through the time binding circuit, and we'll see more about that as we go through the text here. So we left off here. Since 300 is the inverse, let's get into the math of it. Give me just a second, guys. I need to refresh my coffee. Yeah, guys, give me just a second. I'll play some background music. I'm going to refresh my coffee. Making myself a cup of coffee, guys. I'll be right back. Keep enjoying that music. All right, so here we have, he says that Henry Adams' math was oversimplified, but he was right on track. It says he was also looking for laws in history. Brooks observed a pattern which may or may not be entirely true, but is approximately true, as similar generalizations of Vico, Hegel, Marx, and Tony. Every civilization, Brooks proposed, goes through 4 stages. So here's the meat of it. This is what I wanted to get into, but I do need to finish up that coffee, so keep enjoying that groovy music. Let me get that cup of mud ready, everyone. Yeah. Digging that groove. Black. Rick Monday coming at you. 4 stages civilizations go through. Here we go. Number 1. The monopolization of knowledge by priests. E.g., for example, the Egyptian priests kept written language a secret among themselves, as did the Mayan priests. The monopolization of, number 2, the monopolization of military power by conquerors who made themselves states or governments. For example, a French bastard lands on the shore of England with a superior technology, warriors on horse versus native warriors on foot, and he becomes king. His relatives and sycophants become lords of the land. Number 3, the monopolization of land by these landlords. The extraction of tribute or rent from those who lived on the land. That's called a feudal monopoly, right? That's still what we're seeing to this day. We haven't gotten beyond that one, right? We still pay rent on everything. They want us even to be renting all of our possessions at this point and renting our money. Everything's turning into a rent-based system. Finally, number 4, the monopolization of the issuance of currency by national banks, the extraction of tribute in the form of interest for each piece of currency put into circulation. Most civilizations seem to have gone through at least 3 of these stages, not always consecutively, and some have passed through all 4. Make sure I don't let my pour over bubble over here. I got my pour over going on, guys. Were you enjoying that music? It's kind of delightful, huh? A little daydreaming music first thing in the morning. Good to see you. Welcome back to the channel. I want to remind everyone that this is the Frank Monday channel, and the time is now to take action, join in the magical operation, right? What is the great work but the completion of man by himself? That is a complete control of his faculties and his future, and the emancipation of the magician's will. I've had some big successes on this last 100-day challenge, guys. Good stuff. I remind you to join us on the Lunar Light Entertainment Discord. I'm back in there chatting with everyone, so you can join that. You can find more about that on the About section of my page. We are full into the 100-day challenge, Pathways of the Magi. We went through the entire 4 elemental grades of earth, air, water, and fire, the major arcanum, all of it, man. It's been great fun. And it's coming to culmination with some live stream parties with your host with the most, Frank Monday. Good magic, guys. Make sure you guys do check me out on www.buymeacoffee.com/Frank Monday. Pull something in the tip jar so I can get some more of this mud. You know how I like my coffee, like I like my magic, strong and black. Good stuff. So make sure you guys do that, okay? Just like Dark Side Phil. Finally, let's see here. What's going on? Let's get back into it, guys. Back into it. So here we are. We're on page 107, I think, of Prometheus Rising. And it says, most civilizations have gone through... we read that part. Brooks Adams also noticed that centralized capital, the accumulation of wealth in the hands of a few interrelated families, seems to have been moving steadily west throughout recorded history. The first major accumulations are to be found in Sumer. The center of money power then shifted to Egypt, Greece, the Italian peninsula, various parts of Germany, and then on to London. From there, it went on to New York, then New York to Los Angeles, and now Los Angeles to Beijing. He saw the balance teetering between London and New York, and he predicted that a decline of the English Empire would shift the balance to New York, which it did in the first half of the 20th century. He seems to be right, and that the theory of this westward movement of wealth has been going on for 6,000 years. Now it has shifted in the 21st century to the central kingdom of the celestial dragon in Beijing, China. And that's where we find ourselves right now. The shifting is still continuing, in my opinion. For instance, the cowboy versus the Yankee sees American politics since 1950 dominated between a struggle between the old Yankee wealth and the new cowboy wealth of the Texas, California oil aerospace industries. As of 1997, it looks like the cowboys are winning, which is one expect if there were a real law behind this east-west migration of capital. So it shifted from there to the tech giant. So Wilson didn't stay alive long enough to see that shift, but it shifted from the, what did he call them? The California, Texas, California oil guys to Silicon Valley. And from there, it shifted again to Beijing, which is where I am now. I follow the sun. I'm a sun chaser, just like all of the great magicians of old. One night in 1919, Count Alfred Korbisky awoke from a vivid dream, tears of joy streaming down his face, with a vivid sense that the passing of signals from generation to generation, the third circuit time-binding function, was what distinguished us from other primates. And he was right. I've had that realization without even coming across this information. So wake up, get on with the picture. He originally suggested that time binding could be defined mathematically. He dropped this idea later because his math was inadequate. Korzybski, how do you say this name? Korzybski. Korzybski assumed at first that it was as if all inventions and discoveries of some hypothetical first generation of humans could be presented as P, and the rate of the generation could surpass this by R. Then mathematically, the sum total of inventions would be PR. Quite true algebraically. Then after a third generation, the stockpile would be PRR, and after 4 generations, so on and so forth. So generalized, this becomes PR to T, being the number of generations that it passed from. Many variables in economic technological history do in fact fit Korzybski's PRT function, but others do not. The math again is too simple, too overly simplified, right? Everything does not change at the same rate. What underlies the accelerations by Henry Adams and Korzybski is nowadays known as the selection of negentropy out of stochastic processes. Our understanding of this chiefly due to almost simultaneous discoveries by quantum physics Aaron Schrodinger, mathematician Norbert Wiener, and Bell Laboratories' Claude Shannon. A stochastic process is a random series, but it is a special kind of random series. In stochastic process, some agent or agency is making selections, picking out the randomness of pattern that is not random. A pattern that is not random is known mathematically as information. Information can also be defined as organization and coherence. Gregory Bateson has defined information as differences that make a difference. Information, coherence, differences that make a difference. Korzybski's time binding, these are all aspects of the unpredictable. If you know something already and can predict it easily on the basis of what you do know, it is not information for you. Conversely, if you don't know something or can't predict it, it is information. The dynamism of evolution, we repeat, is a selection of information coherence out of random series of events. The emergence of information can be illustrated crudely by the following 3 poemlets. Roses are red, violets are blue, sugar is sweet, and so are you. Unless the reader has lived in relative isolation from American English folk culture, this poem had very little information for him. You could guess what was coming every step of the way. But consider, by contrast, roses are red, ink is black. Do me a favor, go sit on a tack. This crude jest of grade school origin has more information for more readers because it is less predictable. Another leap in information content occurs in Stephen Alien's Roses are red, violets are blue. You think this will rhyme, but it ain't gonna. Funny. Yeah, see, so the discordance, and again, Robert Anton Wilson was the Pope of the Church of Discordia. So he was all about discordance, bringing about greater levels of information. And I too have my Pope card from Wilson. So I am a Pope of Discordia. Information is also known mathematically as negative entropy, in a widely used abbreviation, negentropy. Entropy is a measure of the deadness of a system. Negentropy, or information, is a measure of the liveliness of a system. Evolution is always a matter of at least 2 stochastic processes, each one acting as selector of the others. That is, in non-living systems where no such selection is involved, steadiness increases, as stated in the famous second law of thermodynamics. In living systems, due to stochastic co-selection, negentropy steadily increases. In Schrodinger's phrase, life feeds on negative entropy. Life is an ordering, selecting, and coherence-making process. Without getting embroiled in metaphysics, life behaves as if it were always aiming at higher coherence, i.e., higher intelligence. This process accelerates because it is, as Shannon demonstrated mathematically, logarithmic. Logarithmic processes are such that if you put them on a graph paper, the curve rises more and more all the time. Hence, the accelerations noted by Adams and Korzybski are human increments in a process that has become innate in evolution all along. The human increment accelerates faster than pre-human evolution because through the third somatic circuit and its symbols, we are able to pass information from generation to generation. Worldwide wealth in terms of real capital has been doubling every generation since economists started collecting statistics in the 18th century. And a side note on this word maps and equations, I've got a really good one, my magnum opus of the three guardian angels, the three holy guardian angels of the human being, that one day I will share with you guys, but it's a work in progress. And hopefully it comes forth in a timely manner, because it's really going to benefit a lot of people who come across it. And the time is now, I think, to release that good information into the public. And it's kind of what I'm doing here on the Frank Monday channel. It's my one way to connect with you guys. And you can get more behind the scenes information at Lunar Light Entertainment Discord. The conversation's going on there. Keep the conversation going. Keep up your magical practice on the pathways of the Magi. And don't forget to like and subscribe. All that happy horse shit that makes the YouTube algorithms bark like Pavlov's dog. And you guys know the one way you can make me bark like Pavlov's dog is to get over there to buy me a coffee and put a little something in the tip jar. You know that I appreciate that. Much love to all of you that have done that. Because quite a few of you have. I mean, Crystal K, Russian Lad, Owen, Mary, Thomas, tons of people have been over there to visit the site. So thanks for that, guy. Where does this wealth come from? According to Orthodox economists, it comes from land, labor, and capital. According to Marxists, it comes from the land and labor alone. And the capitalist is a thief who has inserted an artificial bookkeeping system into the process. Both are wrong. Land and labor alone and land and labor and capital together can't produce new wealth if they are all organized by a fallacious idea, such as searching for oil where oil is not. The real source of wealth is correct ideas, workable ideas, that is, negative entropy information. The origin of coherent, workable ideas in the human nervous system. All wealth is created by human beings using their neurons intelligently. A neurotic young man once wrote to his Zen master and asked how he could find peace. How can you lack anything, the Roshi asked, when you own the greatest treasure in the universe? How do I own the greatest treasure in the universe? Asked the young man, baffled. The place that question comes from is the greatest treasure in the universe, said the master, being more explicit than is common for a Zen teacher. Of course, as a Buddhist, the master had taken a vow of poverty and did not mean exactly what we mean here. But he knew that the brain produces all that we experience, all our pain and worry, our bliss, states, and ecstasies, all our higher evolutionary vistas and trans-time peak experiences, and so on. It is also the greatest treasure in the universe. In the most materialistic economic sense, it creates all the ideas which, socially employed, become wealth. Roads, scientific laws, calendars, factories, computers, life-saving drugs, medicines, ox carts, autos, jet planes, and spaceships. If you are not alone in the wilderness, lift your eyes from the page and look about. All that you see, whoever theoretically owns it, is the time-binding product of the materialized or manifested ideas of created men and women. It is all negative entropy, coherent order, and it is moving toward higher and more coherent order at a faster rate of change all the time. Of course, if you are alone in the wilderness, you will see coherent order, but in this case, the rate of change toward higher order is much slower. That is, the stochastic processes, which we call genetic drift, evolution, are co-selecting higher order at a different time rate than those stochastic processes, which we call human thought, invention, culture, etc. This is why it is so hard to reach agreement about whether the natural processes are intelligent or not. As Bateson points out, if we accept any ordering process as intelligent, then the biosphere is indeed intelligent. But if we save the word intelligence only for those ordering processes that move at the same speed as our brains, then nature is merely mechanical, not intelligent. To an extraterrestrial with a different time sense than ours, this question would not arise at all. Most of what we perceive in the human environment is made up of concretized ideas in the above sense. Look at the human community. You are seeing the historical human mind manifesting itself. All ideas are not equally good, of course, as we've been all too starkly made aware of in recent times with these mass migration movements, right? Some ideas are just bad news, not only for the community, but for the individual and for humanity at large. All right, we've got activity. My daughter's up. Hi, Amber. How are you? Good morning, honey. Do you need something? Yeah, she needs something. So I probably need to take a break, guys. I've been at it for an hour, and I'll sign off with this. Let's see how far we've got into the chapter. Double check it. We're here. Just a second. Set it there. So we've got a couple of more pages. It looks like. So yeah, let me make sure I leave off and mark my spot. Yeah, we left off here with all ideas are not equally good, of course. And I'll go ahead and finish off with this. I invite you to join the Esoteric Order of Dagon here at the Temple of Frank Monday. We do lots of good work, lots of good magic going on. If it was your first time, don't let it be your last time. Right, the time is now to get up to speed with everything that's been going on in the 100-Day Magical Challenge, Pathways of the Magi. You can get more information, of course, behind the scenes at the Lunar Light Entertainment Discord, and like and subscribe. All of that happy horse shit, like I said every time, that makes YouTube's algorithms bark like Pavlov's dog. And if you want to make Frank Monday bark like a dog, get on over there to buymeacoffee.com/Frank Monday. A little something in the tip jar. I love y'all good-looking, sexy people out in the happy land. Keep doing good magic. And as we wander into the abodes of the future, ad astra per aspera, I will see you on the next transmission. Bye for now.